Major League Baseball players and owners have reached a new collective bargaining agreement. Baseball begins on April 7th. Yes, the owners may have been bluffing about April 14th being the earliest the season could start. They made significant concessions to the players, as did the players. They have a deal on the competitive balance tax, on the minimum salary, on the pre-arbitration pool. Major League Baseball players and owners both came together after 99 days of back and forth bickering, and spring training is expected to start as early as Sunday. Josh Schafer with us to talk about some of the particulars of this deal. And Josh, here's the new things that baseball fans have never seen before. We will have advertising patches on the jerseys and on the helmets. That'll look a lot different. There is a Major League Baseball draft lottery to discourage tanking. The big question is, how do they come to an agreement on the competitive balance tax, essentially the luxury tax or salary cap? No dollar figure has been released, and that's the shocker here. They were miles apart. How they got to a deal today is a mystery.
Yeah, Dave, it really is. And I think what we saw here, too, that was particularly interesting was for the league's finances and the general books to sort of be out in the public. We were all talking about the minimum amount that MLB players make and how much lower that is than other leagues, how much revenue the teams are making. Sure, these are all numbers that we talk about here and there, but we were talking about it on a daily basis because the players made us talk about it and they pointed it out. And I saw ESPN's Jeff Passan is reporting that the minimum salary deal moved up from $570,000, which you see on your screen there, and it's going to start at $700,000 now. So you can see it already brings it closer to the other leagues. And then it's supposed to go all the way up to $780,000. So I think we're seeing kind of those finances be put out into the open and then maybe be ratified once the public discourse sort of says, hey, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. One other thing too, Dave, that I'd be curious to get your take on that we're going to see this year, Apple TV. Apple's getting involved in the MLB. We're going to have a doubleheader on Friday nights. And I'm pretty excited to see that now and kind of see Apple really dive into sports. I don't know what your thoughts are on how that's going to look, and maybe if Apple's all of a sudden going to be streaming all the sports for us now.
Well, Josh, I'm thrilled about that. Finally, there's something else besides Ted Lasso that's forcing me to pay for Apple TV, because we're all held hostage by Ted Lasso. So that is an exciting deal. Expect Amazon to get into that game shortly. And here's some surprises to me as well. 162-game season. It looked at this point, and the owners had said there is no way we can get in a full season. I think what forced them to have a 162-game season that the players said, no matter what deal we accept, we expect to be paid in full for a full year. The owner said, all right, let's find a way to get that done. And it will be made up in 9-inning doubleheaders, not the 7-inning doubleheaders that we've seen. Other changes here. The owners at the last minute had required an international draft, and the players pushed back on that, in particular the Latin players. So that is put off. The pitch clock that so many have hoped for to speed up the game is still on the table, but not until 2023. It sounds like that does get done eventually. Universal DH will happen. So now the designated hitter in every game, it won't be that weird back and forth in interleague play. The DH is here to stay. I think that is great for the entertainment factor of the league. How do you feel, Josh, about expanding the postseason now to 12 teams? The owners wanted 14. We will instead go to 12.
Yeah, Dave, I mean, I think the 12 teams is good for the league to get some sort of expansion. I think the fact that they got any sort of expansion here is big. When you looked at how far apart the two sides were, to have any kind of compromises, I think is big. Those game improvements that you pointed to are also important. I think we got caught up in the financials a lot in this debate and forgot about a lot of the gameplay that people had been debating around baseball for the past 5 years. We got some of those things in. Maybe the game changes a little bit. Maybe the lockout brought some more attention to it. And when baseball comes back, it will have a little bit more buzz around it than it normally does. And I think that'd be great for the league.
You just can't help but wonder, couldn't they have come up with this deal sooner? 99 days of bickering back and forth. Had they started it sooner, had they sat at that table together longer, almost makes you wonder if the owners wanted to push this out a little later, because in the end, they folded on some of their key demands. But baseball is back. April 7th, your new opening day. Spring training starts on Sunday.